Hi guys, today we will talk about cryptocurrencies from a completely different, hopefully still interesting side for you. Usually on this channel I try to tell you about projects that are interesting from my perspective and the potential of cryptocurrencies as a modern asset. However, I thought it was worth addressing and dispelling the most common arguments criticizing cryptocurrencies. As is the nature of criticism, it is not always grounded in reality, and sometimes it's based on limited knowledge, simple fears, or beliefs and anxieties, especially since cryptocurrencies are a relatively fresh topic and a technological innovation that requires a considerable amount of knowledge to understand. In other words, in this video we will answer the most common arguments criticizing the credibility and safety of these virtual assets. And I will try to show those still doubting that it's not as bad as they say. However, before we get on to debunking cryptocurrency myths, I would like to mention one thing. If you really like my videos and would like to see more of them, I encourage you to like and subscribe. It really helps me see what kind of content to make, so that I can satiate your cryptocurrency needs. The main argument against cryptocurrencies, which has gained a lot of strength, especially over the past few years, is the belief that virtual assets are environmentally unsustainable. As all sorts of reports show, in the face of the climate crisis, many people are far more willing to use solutions that leads towards environmental sustainability. And that's obviously good. There is a perception in the public space that cryptocurrencies are the least environmentally friendly assets due to their energy intake. The truth lies somewhere in the middle in this case. It is more accurate to say that it is Bitcoin and the proof of work model that are really taking the longest path towards sustainability. Which does not mean they are not advancing towards environmental sustainability altogether. However, in order to get a good understanding of the nature of this criticism, it is worth taking a look at what the problems of these solutions really are. Let's take Bitcoin first, which in the world of cryptocurrencies is regarded as the most environmentally unfriendly asset. And it's not all about the cryptocurrency itself, but the way it is mined, and more specifically the way it actually is born, the way we make it. Because you see, the proof of work model that is used by Bitcoin uses a tremendous amount of electricity. This model is used so that the nodes on a network can all have a consensus. That's why the consensus mechanism is the name of these models. A consensus regarding the state of the network, and more specifically, the blockchain, so the list of transactions. Interestingly, the money transfers team studied the energy consumption of Bitcoin mines and found out that in 2021 alone, Bitcoin mining consumed more energy than all of Argentina. Making transactions using the blockchain requires multiple computers working simultaneously, and the consumption of the hardware is required to mine Bitcoin, especially the graphics cards that guarantee the processing powers of the diggers, of the miners. They generate incredible amount of electro waste. And this is the proof of work model, which is so popular in the context of Bitcoin and has for years divided the community of cryptocurrency enthusiasts into those who do not see the efficiency and sense of achieving consensus with it, and of those who see the value in this activity. If you watch this channel, you certainly know what the proof of work model is, but for anyone who doesn't know, I'll try to explain the term briefly again. Proof of work is simply a consensus mechanism, like I stated before, that really is the way the nodes or computers in a blockchain system come to an agreement in the context of transactions added to the blockchain. If we do not have a central authority that tells us which transactions are legitimate, but we rely on each other, we have to have a system in which we all agree, we all agree, every single computer has to agree that the transactions on the blockchain are legitimate. And this is the way we do it. In the proof-of-work system, miners from all of the worlds compete in a race to solve complex puzzles. That is really the simplest way to explain the proof-of-work model. Whoever solves the puzzle first gets the opportunity to update the blockchain with the latest verified block of transactions, and as a result, receive a certain amount of cryptocurrency for doing so. In practice, this means that during such a problem-solving process in which millions of computers participate simultaneously, most will use specialized graphics cards I mentioned earlier, which consume a lot of energy, and only one node is rewarded. This is obviously a highly inefficient solution that is largely environmentally unfriendly. But we must remember, this is only a small percentage of all cryptocurrencies. To be fair, about 40%, since Bitcoin is about 40% of the total cryptocurrency market cap, but the Bitcoin dominance, which is the number I just said, is falling, for one, and two, it's not set in stone that Bitcoin will continue to use the proof-of-work model indefinitely. It's certainly unlikely that this will change anytime soon, but it's also likely that maybe someday this will change. And also, like I said before, it's also important to remember that the source of the electricity is really the most important thing here. If we got all of our electricity from renewable sources, the proof-of-work model would be wasteful, but it wouldn't be environmentally unfriendly. Moving on, a spark of hope and ecological development in the context of BTC digging emerged through a tweet of Elon Musk, who was originally convinced to use Bitcoin but quickly abandoned the idea, claiming that it was an environmentally unsustainable solution. At the same time, he announced a partnership with Bitcoin infrastructure company Blockstream in 2022, while Blockstream's CEO stated that they were working together to develop a green energy-powered BTC mine. The greeniness of cryptocurrencies is once again advocated by Elon Musk, as while he abandoned the idea of paying for Teslas in Bitcoin, at the same time he remained committed to using virtual assets. Cryptocurrencies are definitely going green. This is evidenced not only by the emergence of so-called green cryptocurrencies, but also by the transition of virtual assets to the proof-of-stake model. A much younger and more environmentally friendly model than proof-of-work. An example of such a currency is SolarCoin, which encourages real environmental activity and is based on the creation of one solar coin for every megawatt hour generated by solar technology. Another very common argument criticizing cryptocurrencies is the belief that cryptocurrencies are a scam. And this fear is definitely justified, because in the world of cryptocurrencies, it is indeed very easy to get scammed. This is especially dangerous because cryptocurrencies are not regulated in any way, and as I have already mentioned, in order to properly understand the workings of this technological innovation, you need to have a fairly high level of knowledge. However, this does not mean that cryptocurrencies are a scam. With the right knowledge of how cryptocurrencies work, it is very difficult to be scammed. The most important thing here, however, is continuous education, because the world of virtual assets is eminently dynamic and can change every day. This is one of the many reasons why I create these videos. It is very important for me to share with you the knowledge I have acquired over the years, and it pleases me to think that I can help someone potentially protect themselves from fraud. And as you know, it's best to learn from other people's mistakes, not your own. The third argument that very often appears in the opinions of those who criticize cryptocurrencies is the belief that virtual assets are not really decentralized, because many entities with sizable capital invest in them while influencing and controlling the market. Of course, no one can stop the whales from making investments. However, this does not mean that the cryptocurrency market is not decentralized. There are a huge number of projects on the market that are centralized only to a certain extent or operate in closed, dedicated systems. For each project, decentralization is worth evaluating on a case-by-case basis, taking into account several aspects, including the consensus mechanism, mining, token distribution, or leadership structures. For example, a huge number of projects still have democratic governance, and factions, also called forks, can form from popular projects. An example of such a fork is Bitcoin Cash, which formed from Bitcoin itself. Forks result precisely from the fact that there has been some sort of split in the cryptocurrency community, indicating a fair amount of bottom-up control. As I mentioned earlier, cryptocurrencies are a relatively new technology, let alone a new type of asset. Not surprisingly, there is quite a bit of speculation swirling around them, and what seems to be particularly puzzling is their stability. After all, there is so much talk about fluctuating rates, which definitely discourage investors from lending to the world of the cryptocurrency markets. Today, this is evident at first glance. The recent market crash has certainly added a lot of weight to this argument. There is no denying that the last few months are not the best counter-argument to the fact that cryptocurrencies are volatile. Even stablecoins have shown very little resistance to capital outflows from the market caused by panic and poor state of the economy. The question really is whether or not this volatility is a symptom of something bad. It's hard to deny that this high volatility can discourage investment, especially when we're talking about beginners. However, looking more broadly, it's hard to deny that it's something that seems perfectly natural when we consider how early in the development stage cryptocurrencies really are. It's important to remember that it's been only 13 years since the Bitcoin software was published. So this technology is not even eligible to drink yet. So mistakes, experiments, and slip-ups leading to crashes are only natural. I think we will only be able to talk about the actual volatility, which would be greater than the volatility of traditional financial markets for some time once we have enough data to analyze. That's it for today, folks. I hope I managed to at least somewhat convince the skeptics among you. For those of you who liked this video, I encourage you to like and subscribe to my channel so you'll never miss it when anything new gets uploaded. Thanks for watching and see you next time.